Hi there, are you fed up that all your Christmas creative classes have been cancelled because of the coronavirus? Goodness me, that's sort of a seize there, isn't it? I just wanted to come in and make a short video to let you know that I'm hosting Christmas craft stroke flower classes every Tuesday up until Christmas. That's Christmas 2020 if you're watching in future years. It's a programme of 10 sessions which you can attend live, or if you can't make it, you can watch on catch up when I send out the recorded video afterwards. It doesn't matter whereabouts in the world you are, you can book your classes through my website, pick and choose what dates and projects suit you, and I will take care of the rest. I'm filming this and we've just completed week 5 of the 10-week programme, so if you'd like to have a look at what we've been up to, carry on watching the video, which is actually a Facebook Live on my Facebook page, Julie Davis Flower Workshops. And I will leave the links down below to not only my Facebook page, but also my free Facebook group. I will post the link if you do decide that you want to book your Christmas Zoom class with me. And also if you'd like to download the video playbook I mentioned, which is a workbook for the first 3 sessions, more will be coming. I will leave that link in the show notes underneath the video below. And with that said, on with the Facebook Live. Good morning, hello and welcome. It's Julie here, the host of Julie Davis Flower Workshops, Flower Start, the online flower arranging classes, and Christmas Zoom classes, which take place every Tuesday between now and Christmas on Zoom between 12 and 2 o'clock. Now this class, I would say, wouldn't I, is absolutely fantastic. You can stay for the whole session where we have the teaching element, and then we make and create together, everybody comparing notes, chatting and swapping techniques and inspiration as we go. And if you don't have time to stay for the whole class, stay for the first section and you'll get an opportunity to ask questions as I work. And if you can't make Tuesdays at all, well, don't worry, because I always send out a recording of the class afterwards. But you will need to book in advance, and you can book via my website, which is juliedavisflowerworkshops.co.uk. And then if you find the shop section and scroll right way down to the bottom, you will find how you can book for the classes. And the great thing is you can book for one class, there's a timetable listed, or you can book for 3, for 5, for 7, or for all 10 of them. And as soon as I get notification of your booking, I will email you to confirm which classes you want to catch up on or which classes you are forward booking for. Now, as you can see, I'm in a slightly different location today. This is the sort of back lobby passage into our kitchen. Normally, I'm doing my morning Facebook Lives out over there, but I thought you might like to see what we have been up to in class, because, you know, a bit of try before you buy. It's not quite the same, is it, when you see things written down as to what to expect. So I just got this new peg rail in my kitchen, which was made by local men's health charity, the Men's Shed at Abbey Physic Garden, and I'm going to be using those pegs to display what we've been making in class. So if you're watching live, please leave me the hashtag live, and if you're watching on replay later on today, use the hashtag replay and we'll have a chat when it's more convenient for you to watch the video. I realise now it's 8:30 on a Wednesday morning, so you may well be at home eating your breakfast. Perhaps you've been furloughed, perhaps you're self-isolating, or equally, if you're not watching, I expect you're getting yourself off to work and sorting out your children and packed lunches. So the beauty of Facebook, isn't it, that you can catch up whenever you want. So shall we skip to week 1? So as I say, we're halfway there. It's a 10-week class and we've had 5 sessions already. And on the first week, we made cinnamon and pine cone garlands. Good morning, Denise, my favourite top fan. I nearly called you a flan, Denise, harking back to the days when you were doing your bake-off challenge with your friends. So we made these garlands. So it's all about, my theme for this year is all about a slow Christmas, a nature-inspired Christmas, a handcrafted Christmas. So let's be honest, we've all probably got a bit more time on our hands than we ever thought we would have between being, you know, furloughed, lockdown and all these restrictions. And of course, Christmas probably isn't going to be the same at all, is it? Even if we're allowed to meet friends and family, it's probably going to be in much reduced numbers, normally around our Christmas table, we have up to 17 people, and I can't quite imagine we're going to be able to have 17 people to meet together. So because Christmas won't be the same, I thought it would be a really great idea to meet before Christmas, to get social, to do something with a bit, a bit of community together, meeting with like-minded people, and to make those slow preparations, thing you say every single Christmas, oh, I was rushed off my feet, if only I had time. Well, now is the period for you. We've got time, so use your time. And it's really great as well when you do come to class, is you're sort of mentally clicking in to doing those jobs. And I found that myself when I went to my own Zoom flower club meeting with my flower club in town. That was last night, and I got on and did some finishing off projects which I've never have done on my own. So it's really nice to sort of commit to doing something. So this is the first one we made. I have to sort of hang it up like this. It looks like clothes pegs. These are cinnamon sticks, and we did a special knot to hold the cinnamon sticks in place. So that might be one option for stringing around your Christmas tree, a sort of upmarket tinsel, nature-inspired tinsel. Or if you've got a mantelpiece or a shelf, you could just hang that really, really simply. And of course, I've gone for the really simple look here, but you might want to add golden sticks from the garden, paint some sticks gold or silver, or add some pine cones or a bit of fresh pine. The bit of the Christmas tree you always chop off. Have bits of those in there as well. So I'm going to hang this up on my pegs, and then I'll come back and show you my second garland. And then my second garland is pretty much the same as the first, and it's made with pine cones. And look, I've got some in the muddle there. I don't think they're going to spring back. But these ones are individually strung up. So you could hang those on your tree as pine cone decorations. It always tickles me when you go to the shops and you find pine cone decorations, pine cone baubles, because it's just so easy to pick them up and make them yourself. The thing you need to do is clock out in your neighbourhood where the trees are that have pine cones. So for me, I've got a couple of favourite walks, and the graveyard locally has pine cones. And you'll quite often never find the perfect pine cone because everyone else has nabbed them already. But if you go out on a cold winter's day and pick up the ones that are closed, when you get them home and they put them in a bowl, they will slowly open, a bit like slow motion popcorn. So it's a really good time to get them because no one else wants the pine cones that look like they're closed tight, but they will open out over the course of probably about a week to 10 days. So you could be filling your pockets with pine cones and then coming back and making these individual garlands. So as I say, you can hang them up. You could put a little of it, almost need to hang this on my ears. You could put use colourful ribbon. I'm using sort of quite skinny red ribbon this year, sort of check ribbon, gingham ribbon, something really simple as well. Or if you like the glitz, you could go for the glitz. So this one here has got a bit tangled up, and I need to sort that out. But I'm going to hang it on my peg rail, and it's about using the techniques as well. So I taught this technique, and then when I was doing my making and creating, I actually strung my pine cones and cinnamon sticks on a piece of decorative metal wire, and then I scrunched it all together and I made it a little circlet to go round one of my candles. And I think I've posted a picture of that on my Facebook page when I did it. So it's not about, slavishly copy if you'd like to get the exact look, but it might give you an idea, a springboard into doing something that's more creative and suits your plan for what you're doing for your decorations this year. So I'm going to get rid of this one, hang it up, and then I'm going to come back and show you the origami gift boxes that we made. So bear with me for a moment. So these were the boxes that we made, and they are made out of the front covers of glossy magazines. So I'm lucky enough that my sister has a subscription. I think they're birthday presents for her, and she gets a magazine subscription, and when she's read her magazine, she passes them on to me. And these are made with the front covers of the magazines. And sometimes if you're lucky, if you go through a magazine, you might get some pages inside the magazine where they've got a fancy advert, and that's got stiffer paper, so that's really handy to use. So this, I can't undo it because I've wrapped it up with a ribbon, but it's 2 boxes that nestle inside each other. So they are quite small, so it's about a finger length high and long, but absolutely perfect for the little tiny gift. So the challenge this year is to make absolutely beautiful gift boxes and then find the world's smallest present to put it in. But I don't know about you, but I think the older I get, the smaller the presents get as well, don't they? It's not about I've got to have, got to have, got to have. It's more about making, creating, crafting and giving with love. And what could be more loving than making your own DIY gift box? And this one here, I've tied it together with a red spotty ribbon and then put a bit of Christmas tree. This is actually artificial pine on there, and a tiny bit of cinnamon stick and a little beech nut husk. So they've been glued in place. And then because I want to do something with them, I've put a bit of string on them. So I'm going to hang them on my peg rail behind me. But you could have these, you know, a sophisticated breakfast. Perhaps it's just Christmas for 2. You might want to have a little gift on your breakfast table. Do you ever give table presents? Now I have a friend who does table presents on her Christmas table, and I don't know whether that's in lieu of a Christmas cracker or whether it's instead of, but it may be that you know, perhaps to make your Christmas memorable this year, that you might be pushing the boat out and spreading out your gifting over a longer period of time. But that would be, I mean, I would be pretty impressed with that if I came downstairs to breakfast and that it was waiting for me, or, you know, sitting at the Christmas table with my napkins and my sparkling glassware. And or even if you get carried away, because this is really addictive once you've got the technique off pat, that you might want to, you know, tumble them into a bowl. Do you sometimes do that with your Christmas baubles? You've got enough on the tree, or you've got your really special baubles, and I quite often put them into a lovely display dish, and that might be quite a nice way of showing off your handicrafts with little piles of presents. So I feel like I've got them strung up on bits of string. I feel like I've been Christmas shopping, got really fancy gift wrapped purchases, and, you know, similar ones here. And then the last one here has got some gingham ribbon on it, and it's got a dried orange slice and a pine cone. So you can see what I've been doing. I've put them on strings and I'm going to layer them up on my pegboard. Now the next class we did was all about ripping up paperback books, which always makes me feel really nervous. In fact, I used to collect vintage, old-fashioned books. I don't think there's any value to them. They were old books when I was at secondary school, and I came across them in the loft, and because I had invested so much time in them, I couldn't face ripping them up. So I kept 2 of my favourite books and I passed the others on. We have a free gifting site, a sharing site in town. And I put the message up saying to read or to craft with, because they would have made really great crafting, but I couldn't rip something up that had an emotional attachment to me. So actually, last year I went to the charity shop and I bought some books specifically so that I could craft with them. So they cost me about 25p each, and I chose books that had nice, they were modern books, but the pages had sort of quite an aged look to them, and I quite like this sort of old-fashioned typeface. So I'm going to go onto the kitchen and bring you out what we made next with ripping up old books. So here we go, and we made pinwheels. Now I'll have to give a shout out to my friend Sue, who runs Polka Dot Arts, I think it is. I'll put a link in when I finish the video, because I went to a workshop last year and she showed me how to make these pinwheels, and I have made some that are this size, some that are tiny, some that were huge by gluing lots of sheets of paper together. And this is a really great craft to do. I don't know whether you save your wrapping paper after Christmas, the ripped wrapping paper. So although I am not a particularly precious unwrapper, you know, peeling the tape off bit by bit, if people have got big presents, there's normally quite a big bit of paper left that's unused. And I am the one in the family who's, while everyone else is clearing away and stuffing all the paper into black sacks, I'm there smoothing out all the usable size sheets of paper, and then I save them for the following Christmas so I can start crafting with them. And one year I did make loads and loads of these pinwheels, all different sizes, and then on my chalkboard, which is just over here, I positioned them so they made the shape of a Christmas tree. They start at the top and they came out into a wedge triangle shape, and that was just a really great way of making my Christmas a little bit different. And again, it's all about that slow Christmas. Don't just get out the same old decorations. Don't just throw money at the latest range of tinsel or whatever it is you normally have at home. That it's really lovely being able to take the time to be creative and mindful and to be with like-minded people and to make and create together. So I made these, and they are out of 2 pages of a ripped paperback book. Can you see here where the margin, the edge of the pages, it gives us a nice white circle around the edge there, and that is glued together with a glue stick. And you did need a clothes peg just to hold it together while you're working. So I'm going to put those up there. Now in the same class we also made, actually I think we made 4 different projects using paper but making different things with them. And if you want to know more about those, you will have to either ask for the video class, which is £5 per session. I can send you the old video, but I have just uploaded onto my website a video workbook, and that has the first 3 classes in it. I've called it Garlands and Gift Boxes, so it has the first 3 videos of the things that I've shown you, and it's also got some principles and some top tips in there. So if you are interested in that, do let me know, and I can give you the link to the shop part of my web shop, and you can download that and keep it, and then you'll be able to watch it every year as you make and create. Or perhaps you might want to host your own make and create parties at home, so that'll be a really great resource for you. So I'm going to hang these up and I'll show you the bunting, the garland that I made in the same session. And for this one I used a heart-shaped craft punch, and that is such a quick and speedy way of getting really accurate heart shapes cut out instead of having to draw them and take ages cutting them out with a pair of scissors. And this is it. So I've got 9 hearts, and it spells out Christmas. And you can see in between that sometimes I've added a bit of Scots pine, a bit of green hanging down. Some of them have got little buttons on, and some of them have got little bows in between. I haven't quite decided how I was going to finish it off, but you get the idea there. So again, I envisage this hanging up across my mantelpiece, or it could be across a shelf. And I'm going to put it on my peg rail because I'm going to style that up for Christmas. And that was a really fun project to make. And of course you could adapt this idea, make happy birthday or spell out somebody's name. And with Valentine's Day coming up around the corner next, in the spring next year, you might be spelling out the name of your love heart. And if you don't like hearts, stars are a really great motif as well, because like hearts and stars, they've sort of got a year-round meaning. So it's seasonal because it's Christmas, but actually you don't need to keep it for Christmas, apart from the fact that you've written Christmas on it. So I do think hearts and stars are a really great all-round year motif. So instead of Christmas trees, So I shall hang that up. Now I didn't make the holes on these ones big enough to go over my peg rail, so I have to do a bit of jiggery pokery by hanging it over some other items. So bear with me a moment. And then week 4, we made dories. I love a Christmas dory. I love an any time of the year dory. And this is a really beautiful technique. You could make it with your children or your grandchildren, and all it requires you to do is go out for a beautiful autumn walk and collect leaves that you see lying on the floor. So what better time to do that than in autumn? When you get your leaves home, you need to dry them out and press them flat. If you just let them air dry and you leave them, they will crinkle up and they won't be so easy to use. So I would lay them out on a tea towel and mop them down with a bit of kitchen roll, but you will need to get them. I pressed mine in the pages of a heavy book and then piled up some books on top. So I'll just scoot across and show you what we made. And this is it. So you can see I've spray painted some of the leaves and given them a bit of a white zhuzh over the top. And I have this wreath hanging up with a suction cup in my window. And because it's leaves and it's been made on a floristry wreath frame, they're quite translucent in the sunlight. So it's absolutely gorgeous looking at the leaves, remembering the autumn walk I did with my family one weekend, and also seeing the sunlight just glinting through a little bit. And I'm having that up, you know, putting it up now, and you could use this as your Christmas door wreath, but if you feel that you want to be a bit more traditional with your colour scheme for Christmas, well, why not spray paint this? You could spray paint it gold, you could add in some red berries. So all these projects are really, really adaptable. They're suitable for displaying at home now, and then if you really want to ramp up the Christmassy feel, you can just add in more glitz, gold and glamour, really. Red berries always make something look really Christmassy, and a bit of natural Christmas greenery too. So that brings us to week 5, which was yesterday's class. So we were making Christmas stars yesterday out of all sorts of materials, all sorts of shapes and sizes, from matchsticks to kebab sticks. I'm thinking chopsticks you could use, and sticks you'd pick up on a walk as well. So I have gone crazy. Normally when I do my sample pieces, I might sort of do 1 or 2 and then half make a 3 or 4. But I was so enjoying this project that I finished them all off, and that was what I was doing at my flower club last night, finishing off my projects. So I have got about 6 stars to show you. They're all hanging up over there. So I'll bring them across and show you what we did yesterday in class. And I've even hung bells on some of the stars I made. So I've got that little tinkle, tinkle, tinkle feeling. So yeah, Christmas is coming around the corner. So let me see, how am I going to do this without getting in a tangle? Let's start with the smallest first. So you may have seen me light these matches on my Facebook Live during the week. And I've made a tiny little star. And I've bound that together with red bind wire. So if you're interested in getting hold of that, I will put a link onto the page. I got that online, and I quite often use bind wire. It's my favourite kind of thing. It's paper covered wire, it looks a little bit by string, and I've only ever known it in a green and a brown, but where I found it online got this really beautiful red as well, and actually the red was cheaper than the brown and the green, so good value for money. So a little star there. So just to show you that you don't always have to go big, I could put that on my Christmas tree, and again I could use it as table decorations, you know, laying it on top of napkins and things like that, and just one on its own, or make a mobile and have a whole star, you know, a whole galaxy of stars. I'm not quite sure if that's the right thing to say. And I'm looking now behind the camera, the sunlight's just coming through into my living room. You could hang it in a window so it catches the light and makes lovely little shadows. I'm going to hang that one up. So slightly bigger here. This was made out of, these were florist canes or reeds. And if you are a flower arranger, and if I say to you Medalino sticks, you'll get the idea of what it is that I mean. So again, a really simple star. And I have put jingle bells on there with a tiny bit of red sheer ribbon as well. So really, really simple to make. And I like the fact it's got a bit of, you know, when it catches the air, it does have a tiny little glint of bells ringing in the distance. And actually, I will tell you, my daughter's getting really fed up with me talking about Christmas. I don't want to talk about Christmas until December. And then she went to bed last night and she said to me, Mum, I don't know what it is, but I feel really excited, like it's Christmas Eve. And I was thinking, my job's done then, isn't it? So that's the beauty. You know, she's a teenager now, but I don't think she's lost the Christmas spirit just yet, the anticipation of what's about to come. So if nothing else, I think getting my Christmas decks sorted out early has brought me that bit of pleasure that my daughter is still interested in the magic of Christmas and not just all the gifts she thinks I'm going to be buying her. So this is the big star that I made. Get my fingers out of the way. So using big sticks. So this, I'm going to hold it up like that, I think. a star here that is big enough to put on your front door. When you put something on your front door, it's a bit, I don't know how you feel about it, but we think about wreaths, door wreaths, as being circles, you know, the donut, the massive polo out on your front door and swathed in green. And sometimes it can be a bit of a hurdle, a mental hurdle to get over, putting something else on your door that isn't round and green. But I think this star would be fabulous. So it's made, my friend Nikki collected these sticks from the beach. So they've all been weather worn from being in the sea. So I fashioned them into the star shape using exactly the same technique. I will say that this one, I have got some extra bits of bracing attachments in the middle here, because the bigger your sticks, the heavier or the more inflexible, they do sort of squash out of shape slightly. So whereas the smaller stars, I was able just to make them with binding at the tips. The bigger ones I did have to bind in the middle as well. And then I'm going all Scandi inspired, all minimal, all sort of nature inspired this year. So although I've got a sprig of fake Christmas greenery, you could again, you know, put fresh greenery on there nearer to Christmas. And to get a little bit of detail there, it's got some little baubles I'm using as berries, some red and white ribbon, and then I've glued some beech nut husks onto the pine there as well. So I'm really pleased the way that worked out. I'm hanging it up because I've got a peg rail to hang it on, but you could prop that up on a bookshelf or your mantelpiece, or you could hang it on your front door. And then adapting the technique slightly, it may be that you don't want to use individual sticks, you want to use bunches of sticks. So silver birch would be really good for this, but I actually made this star using the same technique, but I had used more of the reeds, the canes, and then I've got bundles of sticks. And you can see there, because they were in bundles, I was able then to go back in and cut shorter bits of stick, and they've just been woven. So nothing there has been glued, they've just been woven, and the quantity of the material is just holding it all together. So that is a really simple star there. A different look, and I haven't decorated. I can't decide whether to put a ribbon on that or to decorate it, or just have it there just looking beautiful in its own right. So it looks quite lightweight in structure. I like the way you can see through it there. You know, perhaps I'll think about putting some battery operated fairy lights through it just to get it to glow. But it is quite, it's not really heavy, but it is certainly is more robust than it might look. And then the last one, I think the last Christmas star might possibly be my favourite. Now this is the one that I mocked up using kebab sticks and elastic bands. And then I took some of the fake Christmas tree and I glued it on the end. So I've got a tiny Christmas star made out of Christmas tree foliage. So again, you could do this with rosemary, with conifer, with the trimmings from your own fresh Christmas tree. But as I used what I had to hand, I used some picks that I bought last year of fake Christmas greenery, and I have cut them up and hot glued gunned them onto my kebab sticks, which are there, and then hung some little bells there. I think these bells came from the Easter lint rabbits. So I've got jingle bells, the round bells on the other pieces, and these are actually bell-shaped bells from the Easter rabbit. So I hope you enjoyed that little run around of what we've been making in my Christmas Zoom classes. So just to recap, there's 10 sessions, so we're halfway through at the moment. And if anything catches your eye here, you can still catch up with what we've already done in class. So you could either download the video playbook, which has got the first 3 sessions in it, or you could book 5 tickets through my website, and then we will email and you can let me know that you would like the recordings of the 5 classes that we've done already. Or it may be that when you go onto my website you decide you want to pick and choose which events you want. They're all listed there, and then once you've paid you just need to increase the number of tickets you want to buy. So the way it's preset is that you would buy 1 ticket, so you just need to use the up arrow to increase the number of tickets. And if you decide you want to join all 10 sessions, I will send you the recordings of the first 5 and then get you on my list for joining the next 5 groups. And I will send you out in advance what you need for each class. And if you aren't able to source your supplies, come along anyway. Some of the ladies don't actually make, they just stay for the chat. And you can make and create in your own time. So on that note, I am going to say goodbye for this morning. I'm dressed in my gym kit, so I've got my Zoom exercise class this morning, and then I'm planning on Wednesday being my quiet day, and I may well go out for a dog walk with my husband, which is quite rare. We normally do it separately in order that we have some time to ourselves. So on that note, I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and if you're watching on replay, well done for getting to the end of the video. How much of it did you skip in the middle, I wonder? That's all from me for now, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at about the same time, 8:20 in the morning, and I'll call in with a cup of tea to see how you're getting on with lockdown and how life is treating you. That's all from me for now, and I'll see you next time.